with Tim Gilbert and Julie Snook. This is Racing Dreams.
Oh, you need to cue the lyrics from U2. It's a beautiful day. Unbelievable. Last time we were here, Jules, we had a helicopter drawing the track. It's an absolute ripper. It's a bluebird.
Good morning, Timmy. Good morning to you at home. Of course, we are here at Royal Randwick for the 6th edition of the Tab Everest, and the sun is shining. The track is looking sensational. The finishing touches are being made. It is going to be an incredible day.
Absolutely. Now, there's plenty of news to talk about in and around the Everest this afternoon. Some breaking news this morning. We'll get to that shortly, but you've been having a close look at who could win this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, it is the 6th running of the Tab Everest. 12 of the best sprinters converging here this afternoon, chasing down that $15 million crown. Let's take a look at this year's contenders. Twelve of the nation's best sprinters vying for the world's richest race on turf. The Everest, it's a concept like no other.
From his old sparring partner,
Nature Strip finally claimed his crown in 2021.
Nature Strip in front of Eduardo. Nature Strip kept going. Eduardo. Masked Crusaders jumping out of the ground. Just missed. Nature Strip clings on. He's king of the mountain this time.
Does this quirky chestnut have what it takes to go back-to-back with J-Mac? The punters think so, but there's a whole field of hopefuls chasing him down. There's the old foe, Eduardo. Representing Yulong Investments, today marks his 3rd attempt at Everest glory for Joe Pride. Mates Whitby and Werrett locked in their speedster Masked Crusader before Christmas, after finishing so agonisingly close last year. Second that day was new kid on the block, Marzu. Trained by 2-time Everest-winning duo Peter and Paul Snowden, there's so much faith in this gelding. Arrowfield and The Star have signed him for 2 years. Aquas turned to former Hong Kong gelding Joyful Fortune to run in their slot. Trained by Mark Newnham, he's raced only once in Australia for an impressive Flemington victory. Like a jack-in-the-box, prize colt Jacquinot sprung out of nowhere on Golden Rose Day.
Jacquinot storming home. In secret up the fence. Jacquinot wide out. Jacquinot.
Sealing a win and the approval of Coolmore. For years, Björn Baker has been chasing his Everest chance. Now he's got 2. Victorian James Kennedy backing 4-year-old gelding Overpass, while Bon Ho has gone from Classique Grey to Shades of Rose. With his star sprinter out, the prominent Hong Kong owner selected the Shirako Stakes winner.
Giga Kick takes the lead, shown the whip.
James Harron wanted the X Factor, and Giga Kick could be just that. The unbeaten gelding becomes the 2nd 3-year-old in this year's field. A brilliant first-up run in the Gilgai Stakes saw 5-year-old gelding Private Eye snapped up by Inglis.
Now Private Eye, the heavily backed Private Eye takes the lead from Rockin' Horse, the astrologist, and then Baller. But it's Private Eye surging away, back for a stack and bolts in.
It'll be his first Everest bid and a 2nd runner for Joe Pride. And Godolphin waited until the very last minute to confirm ingratiating as the Blue Army hopeful.
Here we are live at Royal Randwick on an absolutely beautiful day. We almost call it a sparkle arclight, Julie. And a man that always dressed sartorially elegant. He is the racing editor for News Corp Papers. He is the best in the business. Ray Thomas, how are you?
Yeah, good morning, Tim. Good morning, Julie. And it really is a good morning in every sense of the word, isn't it? When was the last time we woke up in Sydney without a cloud in the sky?
Or a breath of wind.
It sets the stage. It's fantastic.
Unbelievable.
Of course, There has been some breaking news this morning. There has been a change to the Everest field with Loston running out, Kementari now in. You've spoken to John O'Shea this morning. What's he had to say?
It's a cruel blow, isn't it? To get to race morning of a $15 million race and have to withdraw your horse. It's just devastating for Connections. But John's philosophical. Their horse has a slight fetlock issue that could have been exacerbated if they ran today. He said by Monday the horse will be fine. He'll press on with the spring campaign. The timing's terrible, but that's horse racing. They're not machines. Terrible luck though for Connections.
Yeah, bad luck for John O'Shea, but great luck for the Connections of Kementari.
And what a story. He is a horse who went to stud with a $40 million price tag. Unfortunately, he was infertile. They brought him back to racing. He's now an 8-year-old, and Special K is going well. And if you think of his Premier Stakes run last start, he was beaten a half length into 4th spot behind Lost and Running, Marzu and Masked Crusader. That's the form for the Everest.
There is never a dull moment when it comes to Everest week, and this has been no exception. Jacquinot, another story that broke overnight by yourself. He is now off to Widden Stud once he finishes his time on the track.
Yeah, look, a $15 million deal for a horse who's had just 6 starts. But if he wins today, that's probably cheap because he's got a massive future at stud regardless. He's the young gun in the field, the 3-year-old colt. We don't know how good he is because he hasn't been tested that much on the racetrack, but already Widden Stud have locked him in so his future is secure. But the good news is they want to race him on next season as well, so we'll get to see a lot more of Jacquinot.
And we also saw what Yes and this race combined did for his time at stud as well, and the interest for him at stud.
I actually chatted with Anthony Thompson this morning, and like 15 million can become 35 million with a snap of the fingers if he wins today.
Yeah, it could be worth. So it could be a great investment. Well, just on yes, Julie, Coolmore had to knock back broodmare owners with his service every spring. He didn't win a Group 1, yes, but he won an Everest, and that resonates around the world. Jacquinot's already a Group 1 winner. If he wins an Everest, that $15 million looks a bargain.
Now, Lost and Running comes out of the field, and that sort of, he's such a pronounced favourite now. In the red, about $1.65. I think you find Nature Strip app, and if all things go to plan, you expect him to win. The next line of betting is around $10.
Yeah, $1.65, the shortest favourite in Everest history. But he's the champion sprinter. He's the world's #1 sprinter. And really, if you think about it, as good as he's been over this is his 4th Everest, over the last 2 or 3 years, his last 6 months have been his best. Think back to the championships in the autumn. He dominated in the TJ Smith. He was outstanding at Royal Ascot, winning the King's Stand. And he was even better again first up in the shorts. And the track at the moment, guys, is a soft 7. The sun is blazing, could get to a soft 6. Nature Strip goes on all conditions, and Lost and Running was the second favourite, but $1.65. He's rock bottom odds, but he's the champ. He's the one to beat.
Well, the new second favourite is now Masked Crusader. He's older, he's jumping better. He came so close to that win last year. The Connections are certainly feeling that little bit of confidence, and rightly so.
Yeah, and the track conditions help him, don't they? Because if you look back at last year's run, he was unlucky, winding through the field, just missing Nature Strip. And I think he's going probably better this spring. He's run in the Premier last start to just get beaten behind Lost and Running was super. Again, he was unlucky. His racing pattern, unfortunately, is his Achilles heel. He gets back in the field and he needs luck in running. But one day the planets are going to align for Masked Crusader. It could be today. He'll be the one rushing late along with a horse like Jacquinot. They've got to run down Nature Strip, though.
Yeah, absolutely. They're all hoping that, the pace is on up front and they have the opportunity. Now, look, John O'Shea, desperately unlucky here in Sydney, but he could have some luck in Melbourne because, of course, how fortunate are we in Australia? We've got 2 fantastic race days. We've got Everest Day and Caulfield Cup Day.
Yeah, it's a great day's racing, isn't it? Can't wait for this race day to begin. There's so much to look forward to. For John O'Shea, as you said, Benno's in great touch. He goes into the Caulfield Cup off the back of a 6th in the Might and Power Stakes behind Animo, drops considerably in weight back to handicap conditions, sets up beautifully for him. He takes on a horse called Allegron. They had a terrific battle last start here at Randwick in the Kingston Town Stakes. Allegron just beat him. I think they can Quinella the Caulfield Cup today. It'd be great if John O'Shea and the Connections, the owner Carl Holt, can get some compensation. It's amazing to think you're talking about compensation winning a Caulfield Cup after the horse is scratched from an Everest.
I just wanted to ask you quickly, Ray, about the training performances of some of our Sydney-based trainers. Joe Pride, Björn Baker, and now Godolphin as well. They've got 2 runners each in this Everest field. You're also looking at Mick Price, Michael Kent Jr., Clayton Douglas, some incredible training efforts by these gentlemen to get their horses here today for the Everest.
Well, just on Joe and Björn, they haven't got massive numbers like some of the biggest stables in Sydney, but they're very, very competitive. And to get 2 horses in the world's richest turf race, that's a tremendous advertisement for their training business. And they're not making up the numbers either. Eduardo's second favourite for Joe Pride, a terrific chance. A lot of people are going towards the Private Eye side of the fence now because of that tempo. It'll suit him. Björn Baker's 2 horses overpass. The key to him is the sunshine. The track is improving. He comes right back into play. Think back to the shorts a month ago. He ran second to Nature Strip, beating home Lost and Running and Marzu and Masked Crusader. So he's in the mix. And Shades of Rose is on that winning streak. This is her big test, but you can't knock winning form.
Okay, now there are people at home with their pen or their pencil and their piece of paper. They listen closely when you're on, Ray. What have you got for us? What do you think is good value today?
Look, I think in the Everest, Nature Strip's the horse to beat. I think he'll win the race.
Put him in with Quinellas and stuff. And
exactly. $1.65 too short for most of us. I think Masked Crusader now is the horse that can really come into play. And as you mentioned earlier, Timmy, it's $10 the field outside the favourite. So if you want to look at something each way, a horse like Masked Crusader and even Private Eye at bigger odds are good bets in the Everest, but they've got to beat Nature Strip. But so much racing to look forward to. I think in the Kosciuszko Commando Hunt, it's about a $31 chance. Great each way value in a very tough race. The Sydney Stakes, I think Remark is a really promising horse. We might see Remark in an Everest next year. He's that good. He should win the Sydney Stakes. And the Silver Eagle, I think a horse called Mr. Mozart will be hard to beat as well.
Well, Ray, it is always a pleasure to catch up with you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It is a huge day here at Royal Randwick. You are always right across every single detail. We'll see you throughout the day and thank you again.
Thanks so much, Julie. Tim, have a great day, guys.
Yeah, you too, Ray. Have a cracker. Have an absolute cracker. Well, we had a great night the other night, all 3 of us. We were on the harbour on the Jackson.
The Jackson, $15 million Jackson for the barrier draw of the $15 million Everest.
It's got the SS Minnow covered, I tell you. It was unbelievable, this boat. And what happened was we saw a barrier draw, a very modern world barrier draw done with drones, 500 drones in all sorts of colours, synchronised to the minute. And it was just wonderful to watch on a beautiful Sydney skyline. We were there and we asked a few questions to those right in the middle of it after we found out who was in what barrier. Take a look.
Barrier 6. Now this is Overpass. Overpass has drawn barrier 6. Those colours are the James Kennedy colours, the black and white. Rachel King and Björn Baker combined. They were picked up after running second in the shorts behind Nature Strip, and it's one of 2 runners for the Björn Baker stable.
Overpass, he drew well. He'll be able to use his natural speed and roll forward and probably get into a pretty good spot in the first 4 or 5. And I'm not so sure about Shades of Rose from gate 8. She has got tactical speed if we want to use it, but we'll just have a good look at the day. And sometimes you can overanalyse gates.
Gate 10 for Masked Crusader, will that bother him?
6 was better, 7 was better, 8 was better, 9 was better. We copped a 10. Last year in the Everest, he missed it by a length and a half, which means we would have won by a length. But that's another story. And if we can just get there 2 or 3, 4 back, maybe bang. We're the fastest horse the last 200 metres.
Can racing dreams come true with Private Eye and your colours out of the 3?
Geez, I bloody hope so. Very, very happy with the 3 gate because our fellow jumps well, and had we drawn wide, we would have had to been negative straight away. He can sort of lob where he's comfortable, which hopefully will be somewhere like midfield.
Joyful Fortune, the Mark Newnham galloper. Tom Sherry's going to ride for Aquis. Joyful Fortune has drawn barrier number 1.
I think it's ideal for a natural speed horse like him. It just means he's not doing any work to establish a lead. He's got a high cruising speed, so I'd imagine he'll be able to control the pace from where he is. Marzu, those colours have won it before. Red Zell won it year 1 and year 2, and Marzu is back here to try and do it again for the stables and Triple Crown.
But look, it is what it is.
so happy and glad to be in the race. He's going really well. He's had a good prep, and anything can happen. You get rain on Friday, it's probably going to help his chances, but yeah, we'll just need a bit of luck.
Jack and O, barrier 2, Mick Price, what do you think?
I think it's good. Damien Lane's an aggressive rider, so he's going to have to duck and weave through traffic, and I'm hoping there's a heap of speed on and they all get a bit nervous and, you know, they get rolling, and I'm hoping that the weather in Sydney stops raining.
Barrier number 5 for the other 3-year-old, Giga Kick.
Look, he's there. He's done nothing wrong up until this stage. He's obviously 4 from 4, and the sky's the limit for him. Obviously gets to 53 kilos with the lightweight, and now we're drawing a lovely alley, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Is it a bit of a pinch yourself couple of weeks?
With this horse in general, it's been a bit of a pinch myself sort of scenario. To think he won a maiden in February at Sale, and standing here on a boat in Sydney, about to contest an Everest. Less than 12 months of a racing career. It's amazing.
Does it help things that Nature Strip, this out-and-out compelling favourite, is out wide?
Oh, look, it's no hindrance to him. He's a horse that's generally not a great beginner, and then once he gets into his stride, he's obviously, you know, pretty hard to beat.
It sort of made me feel a little bit better when we seen old Nature Strip through the outside gate.
He's probably happy with that. Quite often he's won most of his races by being out there and just idling and waiting, so it probably won't worry him at all.
I think he likes clear air anyway, so he may have to go slightly further. That may be the one chance that we can catch him up. No doubt he's the one to beat.
The greatest danger, I'd see Nature Strip drawn 12. You know, he's an amazing horse. Why couldn't he, you know, James, come across, rate and win, I suppose, you know. I think a lot depends on the actual surface.
I've actually seen Nature Strip in flesh, so I'm actually looking forward to seeing him, but just to have a horse competing against him is unreal.
That Clayton Douglas story is a cracker, isn't he? He's in his first year in this game.
Not
he's
a
got an
bad
Everest
start,
run.
and now he's here. Well, there's only 3 jockeys in Everest history who know what it's like to take home that trophy and take home the glory. Glenn Boss is one of them, and he talks us through exactly what it feels like to be a jockey out here on this big Everest occasion.
This one's got that real major feel about it. You know, it's got a lot of hype. It's got months and months of preparation. From the time it finishes in the spring, for one whole year, they're targeting this race. To win the Tab Everest, you need a bloody good horse. I remember being down there when I rode Yes, 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 and the theatre was absolutely chock-a-block, and the noise was amazing. And you know, there's a lot of owners that were involved with that particular horse that day, and all I remember was like, oh, all I want to do is get on this horse and get out on the track, get to my quiet place. You know what I mean? Get on the horse, get out there on the track, and then I can just start doing my job.
This is the world's richest race on turf, the $14 million Tab Everest.
It's going to be fast and it's going to be furious. And this is what we do very well in Australia. We have the best sprinters. This is our genre, you know, the fastest horses on the planet, and we basically produce them, you know.
The ladder's on for the Everest, the Tab Everest, and the gates are back, they're off.
Yeah, your preparation is key, but when the gates open, it's just completely out-of-league. You just go with the feel. It's a pressure race. People can do things they probably would never do on a horse, you know, go too fast, whatever, do something silly, you know, and so you completely, your senses are on hyper alert. You're just completely like that, waiting for what will happen and what could happen and what mightn't happen and what will happen. It's just completely, you're on, you know.
Yes, Yes, Yes takes the lead, centre of the lane, it's chanting at the end. Yes, Yes, Yes wins the Everest.
For an athlete, it's a great place to be when you're just completely on.
Glenn Boss wins another big one.
I know this race is only in its infancy right now, but as time goes on and I'm an old man, we'll be able to reflect back on this race and look back at only very, very good. There's no flukes. There's just not a horse that's going to fluke one. Only the best will win.
Welcome back. You are watching Racing Dreams. We are live here at Royal Randwick this morning ahead of the running of the 6th Tab Everest. Timmy?
Well, the barrier draw we saw the other day, it was fantastic, and we heard from a number of the protagonists involved in the Everest. Well, I had a chat with the busiest man in racing, of course, the CEO of Racing New South Wales, Peter V'landys.
He's king of the mountain this time.
It's been unbelievable how it's grown in 6 years. It's had the most spectacular rise I've ever seen in any event, and it's only going to keep getting bigger because our audience are under the age of 30, so they're the audience of the future.
With the Kosciuszko, and Everest Day is a cracking race day.
Look, the Kosciuszko is one of my favourite races of the year. It's now gone to $2 million for country horses. And again, you've got Terry Robinson with Art Cadeau, and it's charismatic. It's really grown in stature, and it's one of the highest turnover races on the day. A country race field of country sprinters.
And a couple of weeks later, the big dance and the little dance. It's caught the imagination of regional and country areas who have really done it tough. They're really focused on it, plus the raise in prize money.
Well, it's $2 million, and people know the horses because they've won a country cup right around New South Wales. And there's a race here on Saturday, for horses that have missed out to possibly get in the race. It's the big dance because you've had to been in a country cup and you've had to have either run first or second to get into the race. And so this is their grand final, and that's why it's called the big dance.
Golden Eagle, I've got to ask you about that.
Look, it's the second richest race in Australia. It's for 4-year-olds. And its aim was to keep horses in work and to keep them running when they're past 3 and as 4-year-olds, and it's worked. But what I like about the Golden Eagle is $1 million will go to charity this year. So one of the, each owner has to select a charity that's accredited, and that charity races for $1 million in prize money. Some of the charities get more out of this event than they do in 3 years of fundraising.
What do you expect for Saturday at Randwick?
Well, it's going to be a record crowd. That's the first thing. It's going to be probably bigger than when Winks retired. And who can forget that great day when the great mare, one of the greatest horses in living memory, retired. It was one of the most special days for me. But on Saturday, we might actually get more people. So, and I think everyone wants to get out of COVID. And this is it. This is one of the big events in Sydney now. So everyone wants to celebrate.
Well, of course, Racing New South Wales, a sponsor of this program. They have been for a long time. Hopefully they'll be for many, many years to come, Julie.
Hint, hint. Well, what a week it's been for Jacquino. The connections of this exciting colt. At 3 years of age, he burst into Everest contention after winning the Golden Rose. And one of his very happy owners and a Racing New South Wales board member, Simon Tuxton, joins us now. Good morning to you, Simon. What a week it's been for you guys.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Julie. It's been a wonderful week. I mean, you spend a long time in racing and not have a week like this week. So we're really delighted and we're making the most of it. We really are.
Well, tell us the week of Jacquino, because it's extraordinary. This 3-year-old colt, James Harron's a good mate of mine, and he did the deal with you and Widden and everybody else involved in it. Here he is today running in an Everest, and the money bandied about was $15 million that he was sold for. He'll double that price if he wins.
Don't think about that.
You can think about it.
I think, Tim.
Right,
I think you're doing what everybody does, Tim, and that you're getting bogged down in the financial terms. I think
I'm getting bogged down in what most people are fascinated by.
I know.
Oh my goodness gracious me! Wow.
I think from an owner's point of view, just as important as the money side of a transaction, like has happened this week, to know that the horse is going to have a home at stud, at a great stud like Widden. No, that was just as important to the owners as the money was, and we're going to give him a terrific start, and to be a successful stallion, you need to be placed in a stud like Widden.
Oh, absolutely, and this is the reason why I am playing on it is because our show is Racing Dreams, and it doesn't matter whether you're at the top end, the middle, or wherever you are in racing, they can come true.
They can come true, and we are small-time breeders by any measure. We have 10 mares. We try to buy and breed from top-line mares. We race fillies that become mares, and we're so proud of the fact that Jacquino is the progeny of. We raced the grandmother. She had a filly. The filly didn't race, Pontero, but she's the mother of Jacquino. Her first foal, is Jacquino, and the Pontiana, the grandmother, has also thrown Inference, Randwick Guineas winner, Dragon Leap, a dual Group 2 winner, Elation, who was a very hot horse coming into this spring, who unfortunately has had to go out, but hopefully we will be back in the autumn. So to have that kind of success as relatively small operators, that is truly a racing dream. I'm on the right show.
Absolutely. We'll use that in the promo.
Well, after his win in the Golden Rose, we know it was very quick wheeling and dealing to get him into the Everest. But how has this process been for you as an owner, for you dealing with his trainers as well, Mick Price and Michael Kent Jr., who just seem to be having the time of their lives this week?
Yeah, well, it all started when he won the Golden Rose, and of course that moment, it was such an exciting win, and that last 400 across the line, and we were standing down there in the mounting yard not really knowing whether he won or not. And so when the camera focused in, we realised, as I walked out of the mounting yard, having gone through the presentation, I was on my way to the happy room to have a glass of champagne, and Tom Magnier just stood on the path in front of me and said, you must race in the Everest, you must race in our slot. And of course, with Lindsay Maxted and his connections with Coolmore, you know, it was very easy to do. It was very easy to do that transaction and to have a runner in the Everest. It's so exciting. And Mick and Michael Kent, I mean, they've been so brilliant. They're trying to prepare a horse for the Everest at the same time. James Harron was doing a tremendous job running a sales process. So running those two processes in tandem is not all that easy, but I think it's been managed well, and the horses now, you know, he seems to be in top class condition. But
part of what I've loved about what we've done here for the past few years on this show is love following the journeys, and things can happen quickly. Like, we were down at Cranbourne with Mick Price and Michael Kent Jr. and I said, who's Oscar, who's Felix? And they said, we're both Felix. And I said, what about Jacquino? Is he going to be in the Everest? Oh no, let's take our time with him. Golden Rose. They played their cards, and I've had a laugh with him since. But to watch the journey since then, and as soon as he won the Golden Rose, kaboom, the language changed.
Yeah, look, they are both Mick and Michael are not only great trainers, they're tremendous communicators, and that's a terrific thing for the owners. They don't over-spruik the horses. It's a realistic assessment, and I think the reason that they would have been circumspect before the running of the Golden Rose is they wanted to see what was going to happen in that race, and it was only when they saw that they realised that the horse was capable of coming out and giving a great account of himself. And so it did happen very quickly. In fact, Jacquino's only been racing 10 months. I mean, it's amazing.
I'm on the Jacquino train, don't you worry.
Yeah, you've got a lot of supporters. Well, Simon, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. It is such a big day for you and the team, but what has been so lovely to see is you're enjoying it and you're soaking up every moment as an owner with your owner hat on, and you're out there and you're at every event, as Mick Price has been as well, and it just looks like it's been a sensational week.
Thank you very much. It has been a wonderful week, and it'll be a great day today, whatever happens. Thank you.
You must be proud as a board member of Racing New South Wales, because I was out at Bathurst the other day with Sarah Ann, who of course is on your board, and to see what is happening in this industry, not only for city horses but for regional and country horses.
It's all over, and it's not only just the prize money and the racing, it's the infrastructure as well. There's a lot of focus on spending money right through the sport in New South Wales to lift our game in all areas, and Peter's just done a wonderful job as CEO. I mean, the racing in New South Wales owes him a tremendous debt.
Well, your tie is the right colours. All the very best today.
That's not an accident, Tim.
Of course it's not. Don't you worry. I tried to mix it up today.
Thank you very much, Simon. I might see if we can just take a moment to have a look at this beautiful trophy, the two trophies we have with us on set this morning. We've got the Everest trophy, which is created by Tironi, and of course the Kosciuszko trophy. We'll be talking about the Kosciuszko.
You built quite a nice nursery in your house, couldn't
I
it?
tell you what, I'd just chip a couple of diamonds off and that might set me up for a few
obstetrician bills. Ah, lovely.
Well, from breakfast to spectacular drone shows, Everest week, it has it all. This week has been no exception. So we've been out and about to catch up with some of the big players in today's race and see how they're faring.
There is a security guard.
Maxie, does it feel like it's Christmas week?
Mate, how great. What at Sydney Harbour again, the sun's shining. I don't want it too wet. I think we're a bit of luck.
How fun is this week?
It's unbelievable. Just something on every day, and you know, you just know by the amount of people that are ringing up and either wanting tickets or wanting interviews to say that it's encapsulate the whole place.
I'm just counting down the sleeps now, but the nights I can sleep. But no, it's pretty exciting. It's you know, the biggest race we have in Australia now, 15 million, and you know, the biggest turf race in the world. So to be part of that's pretty special.
Where will your eyes be darting come Saturday? Because you've You've got the old Eddie. He knows what he's doing. He and Nash have been around a couple of times before. And then you've got Private Eye.
Well, one at the front, one at the back. I'll be like I'm watching tennis at Wimbledon or something, I think. So, honestly, I normally just focus on one horse and have a quick dart back the other. So I'll probably watch Eduardo because I'll know not much is going to happen with Private Eye until the end.
My horse is a year older, smarter, jumping better. That wasn't a bad run the other day. Nice tight little third.
Someone sounding confident.
25s into 13s. Hello. We're not here for our health, are we, darling?
When you go into that race on Saturday, is there a lucky tie? Are there lucky socks? Is there anything you're doing before that, Everest?
Yeah, I'll try and keep a routine, maybe a lucky beer or two beforehand as well. But I've got my lucky socks and my daughter, who's 7, I think she counted there were 10 holes in the socks, so I'm due for some new ones.
It is the hottest ticket in town. Has everyone got their tickets sorted?
Just about. Well, I'll be there. My wife will be there. We've got our owners there. So anyone else who wants to tag along, do your best.
You've been in the Everest since the very beginning. Does it get any easier this week?
Yeah, I think it gets easier. I've got a good horse. I'm not frightened of any. You know me, confident Max.
How does the Pride team celebrate the end of a successful day at the track, a successful campaign? Is there a little tipple at the end of the day, maybe?
Yeah, there'll definitely be a tipple. I can guarantee you there will be. It's just a matter of how many and where they're at.
Go and have a drink. Go and celebrate.
Oh, I think I will.
Welcome back to Racing Dreams. I tell you what, it's sparkling. Let's get another shot of these trophies. Can we get another shot of these trophies? Because they absolutely look wonderful. We've got the Everest over here, the Kosciuszko there, and by the end of today's racing, we will know who is the winner of both of those. But it's a huge day of racing in Sydney and Melbourne. From PointsBet, here's our great mate, Daisy Thomas.
Thank you very much, Timmy and Julie. I tell you what, I've got a little bit of room left on my trophy cabinet. Not much, but I reckon one of those would look just nice. What about this? Another week, another absolute weather debacle. Last week, of course, Randwick called off. This week, Melbourne has absolutely copped it. It was a heavy 10 into a heavy 8 right now at Caulfield. And can you believe the best track we've seen in a long while will be at Randwick today at now a soft 7. Let's rip into the feature up there at Randwick, the Everest, the richest turf race in the world. We must make note here that Lost and Running has been scratched this morning, so there is a 9-cent win and place deduction there. So in saying that, Nature Strip's gone from $1.95 into $1.67. One punter here at PointsBet having $50,000 at that $1.95 price. Eduardo now into second favourite and the only other runner there at single figures. Jacquino after that amazing Golden Rose run into $10, as is Mark's Crusader. Private Eye there at $16 and had a little bit of support. Marzu, Giga Kick, and then Kementari down there at $34. The Silver Eagle, I spoke about the races getting called off. This has been now pushed. So the real winners today are the Randwick punters. It is coming up. It's going to be an absolute cracking edition of this race. Mr. Mozart, still your favourite there at $2.90 and really well found here with PointsBet punters. Waterford there on the second line, $5.50. I mean, a touch easy. Villani's been well found into $6.50. Star Tonte, $7.50 and well supported. Lavish Girl has had a real nibble there at the double figure quote, and the rest on that page have been a touch easy with the PointsBet punters happy to back a few up the top of the page. A cracking day of racing up there in Randwick, a slice of history on the line again for Nature Strip, and no doubt if J-Mac does win, the jockey's room may just be asking for him to start to share it around a little bit. From Randwick, we turn our attention to Caulfield, and the first race we have a look at is the Mccafe Sprint, which is an interesting race. Dragonstone, will you be your favourite there at $3.50? Generation, $4 well found. Kalos there is the interesting runner, the Cummings stable, which of course won the 2 Group 1s at Caulfield last week in rare form. That has been the best supported into $8.50. The rest a touch easy. But again, PointsBet punters, 4 up the top of the page, pretty happy to have a bet on them. The Caulfield Cup is the big one here in Melbourne today, and it is going to be an absolute cracker. Smoke and Romans will be your favourite into $3.90. One punter having $40,000 at the 4-figure quote, at the $4 $10 quote. Knight's Order there $7.50, Bonneau there $9.50, Allegron $10 and Well Found, Nonconformist $12, Numerian Gold Trip 15s, and Duis there, which once was the Caulfield Cup favourite in the futures markets, can have as much as $16. If you are going to have a bet today, of course, Tim and Julie, head across to the PointsBet app, you download it, you're now featuring racing.com form analysis, expert tips, previews, and as always, please remember to gamble responsibly. Cracking day of racing. As always, back to you in the studio.
Back to us in the outdoor studio today because we are live here at Royal Randwick.
The only thing missing is the pina colada. It's quite
Don't rub it
exquisite,
in.
isn't it? Eh?
Don't rub it in. Well, the best of country racing is on show here today. Of course, we have the $2 million Kosciuszko, and the contenders, they have come from near and far. They've come from Albury, they've come from Wagga, they've come from Canberra, and they've come from Tamworth. Joining us this morning is Tamworth trainer Cody Morgan, who has 3 runners in today's Kosciuszko. Good morning to you, Cody.
Good morning, Julie. Good morning, Tim.
How are you, mate? Welcome to the program. Take us through these 3 runners you've got today.
Anatol, he's been here 2 years ago, so and he's also been in a country championship final previously. So, and he'll be quite happy to not race Nature Strip like he did last start. So it's he's really well.
You've also got Talbragar and Lamelody in this race. You are the trainer with the most runners in this field. How does that feel?
Yeah, I'm very humbled that the slot holders have come to me. Obviously, you do deals with the slot holders, and we've got a large team at Tamworth, of sort of 50 horses. So probably I'm lucky that we have a few horses that are available to run in this race.
What about Lamelody?
She's really good. She'll come across from that wide draw.
Rachel King?
Yeah. So Rach at 53. There's probably only been about 4 or 5 fillies. Obviously, It's Me, who's an exceptional mare. She carried 53. But the reason I was quite confident to run her, there's only been 4 or 5 fillies to run in the race with that weight over the previous years, and they've all run above market expectations. So you're just getting away from those better horses that have got 59, so that should really help her.
And Talbragar has Huey Bowman. He's this 5-year-old gelding by Snitzel, and I hear he's got a little bit of personality. And I imagine today, with the Bowmans on board, there'll be a fair bit of support for him back home as well.
For sure. The horse is obviously from Corumbean Stud at Dunedoo, and obviously that's where Hugh's from. So I feel like everyone in Dunedoo will be behind him, and he's a really talented horse. Mr. Aldermonte sent him to the country area for a more peaceful lifestyle, and he's found himself back at Randwick.
Cody, you're very well dressed, all well mannered, and it's great to have you on the program. How are you going to be if you get a winner in the Kosciuszko?
Tim, I have thought about that.
At least you've admitted it. Everyone else says they don't.
Yeah, look, I've been known to cry when I've raced for 100,000, let alone 2 million. So my partner will be here and keep me in check.
What has this race done for you country trainers? What does it mean out in regional parts? Because the prize money alone has increased, but it's not just about the prize money. It's a chance for you to be here on the big stage.
Oh, Julie, what Racing New South Wales and Mr. Volandis has done has completely changed the landscape of country racing. To be fair, you wouldn't have heard of country trainers, whether it be Mitch Beer or myself, 10 years ago, and we're very lucky to be in this position today.
I remember that interview with Greg Radley you did a couple of years ago, and you did get quite emotional. It was unbiased into the country championships, and there was a really nice family connection. Tell us a bit more about that.
Mum and Dad owned Unbiased, and he's retired up at Tamworth now, and we still see him regularly, and it was very emotional. It was the first country championship heat that I'd won. I've been fortunate enough to win another couple since then, and I've done my best to keep it in check, but it's your life. You put everything into it. So to see those results on those days, they're our Group 1s, so to speak. So when you are lucky enough to win one, it does get the better of me a bit.
That's what does Chris Waller, so you're in good company.
Yeah, exactly. If you can, is there a way of describing a day like this, the atmosphere here, the build-up? 40-odd thousand people are going to be here to watch your 3 today in the Kosciuszko.
Yeah, you'd probably look back more tomorrow afternoon once you're back home in Tamworth and get away from all the bright lights and noise and think about just the fact that we were able to get 3 horses into the race. And I feel very grateful for all the owners that have supported me to this point, and hopefully all their horses run well today.
Finally, what about an initiative like the Big Dance, the Little Dance?
Oh, terrific. You know, we've got so many options now, Tim, with the Kosciuszko, the Country Championship, the highways week in, week out. They're just everything that what Racing New South Wales has done for the country trainers is just incredible.
Well, Cody, we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. All the best today. You have those 3 runners in the Cosy. You're doing such incredible things for the country out there. So well done. Enjoy today. Make sure you soak it all in.
I think I could go to the bar before the race at some point.
You're absolutely entitled to.
Yeah, let's hope your racing dreams come true today, mate.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me on.
All right, stay with us. On the other side of this, Brad Gray is here live joining us with all your race day tips. Who do you think is the dark horse in this year's Everest?
Who's the dark horse? Probably a good question.
Yeah, hard to say. Oh, I've got to say the dark horse. Well, I think Shades of Rosa. She's a winner, 7 of 9.
I guess maybe Jacquino because he's a 3-year-old coming with the unknown form lines.
And then you've got the 3-year-old Jacquino Bay. Maybe that's like the yes, yes, yes type of horse jumping into the race. So I think he needs to be respected.
I really don't know.
I suppose Private Eye.
I'm not sure if Private Eye's got a slot. If he gets it, he's a dark horse. That's my opinion. I've got a serious feeling about that horse. Maybe not winning, but running really well.
I'm glad Huey got there in the end.
We just had to think about that. Well, there is a lot to think about because it is an incredible field in this year's Everest. To talk more on this, we're joined live by Brad Gray. Good morning to you, Brad.
Good morning, guys. You've ripped me out of my front yard. Here I am.
Yes, well,
Big
you're
occasion.
looking, as always, I tell you what, that must be something in that chair. All of you are just dressed magnificently. How good is it with the weather? There's some talk that this could get to a soft 5.
I know, which is frightening, isn't it? Given what we were on 7 days ago, we're halfway through the meeting, we're rained out because there was practically a monsoon here at Randwick. It's incredible. So a really good result, blessed with the weather, and hopefully, for the crowd's sake, they get around it.
Oh, it's going to be a huge crowd as well.
Yep.
In terms of this year's field, obviously Lost and Running, sadly, has been scratched this morning. Kementari comes in for Godolphin.
Yep.
What does that do to the dynamic of this race?
Not too much in terms of the shape of the race, I wouldn't have thought. Obviously, it's shaken up the market a lot because instead of Nature Strip being $2, $2.10, $2.20, he finds himself $1.65, which is by far the shortest price favourite we've ever had in a Tab Everest, and he stifles the betting. If you like him, wait. Yeah, you'll get better than that. I think there will be some inclination for the bookies to take him on. They have to. You'll probably get $1.80, maybe $1.90 if you're lucky, but obviously it makes the task a little bit easier. Eduardo's now in the mix, Masked Crusader's now in the mix, and yeah, I guess you can throw the 3-year-old in there as well. He's on the second line of betting Jacquino.
Yeah, particularly as this track dries and dries quickly.
Yep.
What about awful news for John O'Shea in racing terms? Lost and Running was in such great form. But he does have some chances here. He's got some chances in the Caulfield Cup as well. How do you see the Caulfield Cup going? Big day in Melbourne.
Yeah, he does. Benno, of course, and he's one of the favourites in the race. That looks tricky, doesn't it, the Caulfield Cup? I don't know where to look. The track, I think he's going to get, to a soft surface, I believe, but chances right across the board. I thought New Marion would run a race there with Tommy Berry on board and Annabelle Neesham. He comes through a really nice preparation.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, of course, we've got Tommy in Melbourne today, not here in Sydney, which is a shame for the Sydney punters. But let's have a look at your tips for today. We'll get to the Everest and the Cosy in a minute, but Sydney Stakes, first of all, who are you liking?
Sydney Stakes, I like Remark. Yeah, so he's resumed to gelding. He's always been a really talented horse. There was a big spruik on him as a 2-year-old. I think he was one of the Golden Slipper favourites there. You go back a couple of years, returns 2 stone lighter, and it's done the trick. He's got his mind on the job. 2 good wins. We know with Team Hawks, the stable there, they're very good at getting their horses to peak on grand final day. I imagine this has been the grand final all along. 3rd up, Hugh Bowman sticks, a lot of speed in the race. He can only run well.
Yeah, well, the Silver Eagle, it should have run last week, but it's on today.
Yeah, I think it'll be the same result though. Mr. Mozart, the field's not all that dissimilar. The only difference is he doesn't have barrier 18. Instead, he's got barrier 1.
Yeah.
So he'll just punch up, not a lot of speed in the race. He loves getting his toe into the ground, and on his run in the Theo Marks, first up, clearly the horse to beat, and the market has responded.
The Kosciuszko, the prize money has increased to $2 million for our country trainers. We just heard from Cody Morgan, who has 3 runners in this year's field. A brilliant concept and a great field.
Yeah, he's going to get greedy now, isn't he, Cody? Incredible, 3 runners for a trainer of his age. So I've got front page on top here, guys. So we saw him first up last preparation in the Wagga Town Plate, and what he did to his rivals absolutely brained them. So if he rolls into Randwick in that form, I don't see how they beat him. He's just going to park in behind the speed. A soft track is fine. Jeff Duray has him exactly where he wants him. I've seen vision through the social media platforms of how he looks at the moment. He looks $1 million. All these horses are going to look $1 million at this level, but I think he's the horse to beat. I think Arcado has to run well. I don't know why he's $9, $10.
Yeah,
he's the defending champion. He won last year as a $4 favourite. 12 months later, he's brushed. He's brushed. It's a bit rude. I think he can only run well too.
Are you on Nature Strip today?
I'm not on him. No, I'm not.
Who are you on?
I've got him on top. I haven't backed him yet because $1.65 is a little bit skinny for me at the moment. So if you don't like Nature Strip, and there's going to be plenty of punters out there that look at this market and say, I can't back him at $1.65.
Like a forgotten horse.
He is. He'll run well. Yeah, if you're having a trifecta or a first four, I don't know whether he can beat Nature Strip, because for him to win the race, he's going to have to hope that Nature Strip underperforms. He has beaten him in the past, but never over 1,200 metres. So if the likes of Eduardo and Nature Strip are beaten, they're probably going to bring about their own undoing, and that's with too much speed. So then you're looking for a back marker. So all of a sudden, Mars Crusader. Jacquinot, that's right, the lightweight 3-year-old. They're probably the 2 that could maybe throw a little spinner into the works for Nature Strip, but I have got him on top.
Okay, we're going to bring the graphic up now. Just very quickly, best bets and roughies for you today, Brad.
Yeah, best bet for me comes up in race 2. It's nice and early. Hopefully we can build a bank. That's Kerwin's Lane. He's a horse with fantastic second up form. John O'Shea can hopefully get a little consolation after the devastation of losing Lost and Running. What else have we got? Roughies, race 1 at Wild Botanica. I think she runs really well in a very open race. So again, nice and early in the day. There is no better feeling in terms of backing the winner of race 1 on a big day. Just gets the confidence going, open the shoulders and you have a crack. And one for a little bit later is race 9, Too Much to Bear. I think he runs really well. He's $61 at the moment. And if he runs up to what he did fresh in last time in, yeah, he's not a $61 chance.
Okay, well, all strength to all of those. Money won's twice as good as money earned. They say that all the time.
That's right. That's a theory, isn't it?
It's a theory.
Well, we do have to let you go, Brad. Thank you so much for joining us. A huge day today, of course. Nature Strip, out and out favourite at this point in time for this year's Everest. Thank you to our sponsors as well, Racing New South Wales, Arrowfield and PointsBet. Who are you on, Timmy?
Jacquinot.
Mars Crusader.
See you next week.
See you next week.